Hi friends, and welcome to my first ever booktube video. I am so excited to be here. You guys may know me from Book Talk or Bookstagram, even though my Bookstagram is still relatively new as well. But my name is Brittany, and I love all things books and coffee, hence my name. I want to start with just doing a little kind of get to know me. So first and foremost, I am born and raised in the state of Georgia. I am still currently here. I do have family in Florida and I travel there quite frequently, but right now we are still residing in Georgia. And the answer to that is that I'm a yapper. You're gonna learn that. I could talk to a brick wall. That's kind of the reason why I started my Book Talk account a couple years ago, because I just needed people to talk to about books, because I was driving my husband crazy. He didn't care about the things that I was reading. He was like, okay, sounds cool. But I needed that engagement. I needed to be able to rant and vent about books and things that I cared about, and for people who cared to listen. So these videos are for you, and if you care to listen, welcome. Also, if you haven't noticed yet, I talk with my hands. My hands are going to be all over the place, so I apologize in advance. That is just who I am. I'm an expressive person. I talk loud when I get excited, and this is me.
And that's a fact.
Outside of YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and just reading, I also have a husband and two wonderful kids, ages 10 and 5, and a cat named Duchess. We are huge lovers of Disney, and we love going to Disney. We love Disney movies. We love just being big kids ourselves, me and my husband. So outside of that, I don't currently work. I am staying at home and helping with all the kids' crazy schedules and whatnot, and just doing content creation. So a little bit about my reading journey. I have always been a reader. As far back as I can remember, I have always loved to read. I feel like it was always and still is kind of my escape from reality. And not that my reality is bad. It's just that life is stressful, you know? So I feel like everybody needs that little bit of escape. And for some people that's watching TV, which I also love to do, or you know, going and working out or hang out with friends or whatever. And for me, it's just reading. I love being able to take a book and just picture that world or that situation or whatever in my head. And my taste has definitely evolved since being a young reader. Obviously when I was in elementary school, I just read any and everything, any children's books. But then as I got into like middle and high school, I did gear more towards like fantasy. And then the only romance I really read was Nicholas Sparks. Let's be honest, we were all reading Nicholas Sparks and getting unrealistic expectations for men. And then enter my adult era, and now I read pretty much anything. The only genre I don't really read, I would say right now, is probably horror. And that is because I have enough anxiety as an adult and I'm not trying to give myself more. But I do enjoy psychological thrillers. So as an adult reader, what books do I currently enjoy reading? All of them. Do I have a favorite book series? Yes, but it's not just one. So for the longest time, the Ravenhood series by Kate Stewart was my absolute Roman Empire. If you've read it, you know, I'm a Tobias girly through and through. However, I did have a friend recommend the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh to me last year, and I became obsessed. It has taken the new Roman Empire slot, although I can't quite like move the Ravenhood series out. So those two, I would say, are my top two favorite series that I've read thus far. If you know, you know. I cannot wait to get more Boys of Tommen books. I'm obsessed. But those are the only two series that I have that I own multiple copies of, and will probably continue to buy multiple copies of until my husband tells me I literally can't, and like cuts me off somehow.
Cut him off.
My favorite type of genre, I don't really even know if it's a genre or a trope. Traumatic romance. If you throw trauma in there, like, I'm not just talking about like a bad breakup. If you throw some like real trauma in a book, and then the journey, like the healing journey of the characters, and like them still getting some sort of happy ending or closure or something of that nature, like I eat that up. That is my absolute favorite genre. And my backstory is that I have a lot of my own personal trauma that I have done a lot of work to heal from. And so I also read a lot of self-help books that deal with things like that, like psychology topics like that. So I enjoy reading those. And so getting to read fiction that is also showing ways of healing, I feel are so therapeutic. I feel like those books specifically are therapy for people without them knowing that they're going through therapy. So this one may surprise some of you. These two questions kind of go hand in hand. What is your favorite book and why? And what is a book that you think everybody should read at least once? Neither of these are fiction. I would have to say either Atomic Habits or How to Do the Work by Nicole LePera. Those two books are probably some of my favorite, but it's because of how life-changing they were. So Nicole LePera's book, How to Do the Work, it deals with like healing personal trauma, but it gives you such a different perspective. She's a holistic psychologist who wrote the book, so it's so much different than anything else I've ever read on trauma, and just doing inner work within yourself to heal things that you didn't even know were broken. And I just absolutely devoured that book. I recommend it to any and everybody I know that's going through a hard time. And then Atomic Habits was such a life-changing, mind-altering book for me. It literally breaks things down to like atom level. I mean, that's the point. People like me who have ADHD and trauma, and I just get into this like analysis paralysis. I'm an overthinker. Sometimes I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to my brain, and I will get so worked up about everything that needs to be done that I'll end up doing nothing. So for me, Atomic Habits was so like, it was such a good read because it breaks things down and tells you like, hey, just do this teeny tiny thing. Like start by drinking a glass of water before bed. And it breaks things down into such a like easy step-by-step process that you start forming these like habits that are so good for you that you don't even realize you're doing them. And that method was just amazing. So those would probably be books that I would recommend that everybody read at least once in their life, and they're probably up there in some of my favorites. As for what format of books I like, all of them. Every single one. There's not a version of a book that I won't read. I read physical books, love the feel of a physical book in my hand. I do tend to prefer reading a paperback over reading a hardback, but on my shelf, I prefer the look of a hardback. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but I feel like paperbacks in my hands are just more comfortable. However, if there are books, which a lot of books I read are 500 plus pages, those books begin to hurt your hands after a while holding them. Like if you know, you know. And I just don't love that all the time. So a lot of times I do prefer reading on my Kindle. It's portable. It's like I just throw it in my bag. We go. It's everywhere with me. Not to mention, I also read on the Kindle app on my phone. So if I'm out and about dilly-dallying around and I get an extra 5-10 minutes in the car where I'm having to sit and wait on something, if I'm doing a grocery pickup order and I'm sitting and they're taking forever, I didn't think to bring my Kindle. I left it at home or it was charging. Whip out that phone. We're going to be scrolling anyway. Might as well just be reading, right? Okay, so I read digitally as well. On that note, it does not have to be a book downloaded to my Kindle for me to read it. The amount of times I have read a digital PDF of a book that is no longer published, or a PDF version of an ARC that I've received, I'll read a digital PDF. I am not above it. And for those of you who want to come and say that audiobooks are not reading, why not? I'm listening to the words. You're looking at the words. Why is your sense better than my sense? We're both consuming the same thing, the same knowledge. It's being processed by our brain the same. I love audiobooks in the car, when I'm cleaning, when I need to drown my kids out. I love audiobooks. So I don't know if there's another format of books out there other than the ones I listed, but if there is, drop a comment and let me know, because I have no preference when it comes to the way in which I consume books. When I'm reading my physical copies of books, I do love to annotate. I just recently started tabbing, life-changing. And I think one of my new favorite hobbies is picking colors of tabs, like the aesthetic of them going and matching my book, or even the offset of colors.
So much beautiful.
Why did I wait so long to get on this train? But yes, I do love to annotate. I highlight on my Kindle or in the Kindle app. I prefer highlighting in the Kindle app, A, because it's in color and you can highlight with different colors. Love that. I'm definitely a mood reader, but I can push past it. I can push past it because if I say, hey, I'm reading this book, or it's a book club pick or something like that, like I will make myself read it. I hardly ever DNF a book. If I DNF a book, there has to be a reason. I can only think of 2. And then I have a few that I've come close to DNFing, but I push through anyway. But if I DNF it, there was a reason. This is such a good question. What is my go-to coffee order when I go to a cafe to read? Or when I just go to a cafe in general, I guess. When I go to Starbucks, I'm definitely always year-round ordering white mocha. I like it hot or iced. When I'm at home, I typically do, this is 3 shots of espresso, milk, and sweet and creamy creamer. And that's it. But I really love anything. Like, we have a lot of local coffee shops here that do really unique flavors. Like, they'll be like white chocolate and caramel and like just all kinds of really unique and cool stuff. So I like to experiment. I love sweet coffee. I don't drink my coffee black. I wish I could, but I can't. But I love the smell of coffee, the taste of coffee. I don't think that I could give up coffee if my life depended on it. If a doctor told me, hey, Brittany, you have to stop drinking coffee, I would say, take me out now. I don't want to live a life without coffee. Do I judge a book by its cover? And if so, what types of covers do I love? Yes. The notion that we don't is ridiculous. The only time I will read a book that has a hideous cover is if everyone is raving about it. However, the types of covers that I prefer are the ones that I make. I just started bookbinding. That's also a fun fact about me. And I've been creating dust jackets and all of those things, and I love that. So you will get to see some of those videos on this channel. I will do like bookbinding vlogs and things of that nature as well. As to what types of covers I prefer ones without people on them. The ones with people are just a little cringy, and I feel like a lot of times I don't always picture the characters in my head the way that they're depicted on the cover. So if I see them on the cover, I feel like it just kind of ruins it. I do like cartoon style covers for small town, romancy, cutesy vibes. However, if I'm picking up a book and it's got a cutesy cover and it absolutely destroys my soul, why? My favorite bookstore that I've ever visited is going to be the Shamblin Book Mine in Jacksonville, Florida. They have 2 locations, but I've only ever been to the original one, and it's massive. When I tell you that this bookstore gives you a map upon entering because you will get lost. The first time I went in there, I had like an hour before they closed, and I was so overwhelmed with like the amount of books that were in this place that I could hardly even think straight to start looking around for books. Like I spent the whole hour like with my jaw on the floor. It is a used bookstore, but they do have a section where they have new books. And they do have some new books like mixed in here and there. But if you're ever in that area, it's the best. But give yourself like an entire day to go, because when I tell you it's a maze, it is a maze, and you'll spend the whole day in there. I promise. Book tropes that I love would be age gap, forced proximity, forbidden love, who did this to you, enemies to lovers. Ones I don't really care for, I would say pregnancy trope, don't care for. I feel like that's really up there with a lot of people. Friends to lovers, I don't typically like. I've had a few books that I have liked it, but it has to be done really well. That's not typically one that I love. I do love a good why choose book. However, I don't love, what is the trope where it's like MMMF, but like everybody's sharing? I don't love that. I don't know what that's called, but I don't love that. I love when like she, the female, doesn't have to choose and she gets to enjoy them all. More often, I prefer when she enjoys them all individually, but I don't mind when she shares them. I just don't like when all of them share each other, because in my brain, that just sounds like a lot of infections. I don't know if that makes sense. What is a book that I expected to love but didn't? Fourth Wing. I'm gonna give y'all a minute to sit with that one. I said Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros.
A few moments later.
I liked it. It was okay. But I did not understand all of the hype surrounding that book. Now, granted, I did read Iron Flame. I did read Onyx Storm. Onyx Storm has been my favorite thus far in the series. But the first 2, I really was struggling to understand. I'm still struggling to understand a little bit, but they're getting better. And my hope is that they will just continue to get better. Also, on that note, why does Iron Flame have to be so long? The middle part of that book could just be taken out. We did not need that, but we will save that conversation for another day. So now that you know a little bit about me, some things you can expect from my channel are sit down chats like this, where I will either be doing book reviews or just chatting about my favorite series, book recommendations, things of that nature. We'll probably also always be drinking coffee together, just like best friends do. I will also be doing bookish vlogs. We'll go to bookstores together, we'll hang out, we'll go to coffee shops and read and things of that nature. I will also be doing bookbinding videos. Some of them may be tutorial type, and then some of them may just be like a mass amount of book binding. This is a new hobby that I've gotten into lately, and I love doing it. I'm trying to make custom dust jackets for everyone that I do. It is my new favorite thing to do. I love it. I love creating designs that are unique and new to the books once I read them. It's so much fun. So I hope that you enjoy all of the videos that I have to offer. If you want to connect with me in places outside of YouTube, you can find me on Book Talk. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is exactly the same. The best way that you can get to know me, I have a Discord. It is linked in my bio. Discord is where I connect with everybody off screen. We chit chat. We sometimes have random video chats when I'm just feeling chatty. We have a monthly book club where we will vote on a book and we just kind of post our thoughts. And we are now starting to have a video chat once a month at the end of the month to recap and just talk about the book that we read. It's voluntary, it's optional, it's go at your own pace. It's fun, we love it. And that's where all of our book besties love to hang out and be a little chaotic. If you want to support me here on YouTube, please make sure to like, comment, share this video and any future videos with your friends, anybody you think would love to join our little family here. I will leave you with one fact about me that is not book related that a lot of people don't know outside of my immediate family, but I think my toes are either double or triple jointed because I can fold and walk on them kind of like a monkey. So I'm not going to show you that, but I love your faces and I hope to see you back here soon.